I don't think I had, because I had to change my.
Yeah, so just write your name in and then.
Working. Welcome, everybody. So it is right at 6 o'clock, so we're going to get started. This is a workshop that I only teach once a year because it's Force Week. So is anybody a Star Wars fan in the room besides me? Oh boy, there was no hands up. Yes, I got one. So we know what this is. All right. So in tonight's conversation and this entire week, we like to have fun because one of my beliefs is that healthcare can be fun. And it's just like learning. If you're having fun while you're learning, are you more likely to continue to learn or less likely? So have you ever had a subject in school that you just really didn't like?
Yeah.
Anybody?
Good grade.
Yeah, and you probably didn't get a good grade in it, and you probably didn't like the instructor very much. And maybe if it was made fun, it would have been more engaging. So one of our hopes for you, and we tell you this on your second day, is that the things you learn to do here, you take with you and do them for the rest of your life to some level. Some people will choose to get adjusted their entire lives. Some people will choose to get adjusted while they're in pain, and when they're out of pain, I'll see them the next time they're in pain, and anything and everything in between. Tonight's conversation, this entire week, I like Star Wars. I'm not like a super fan, but one year when I was actually out of the office, we had a patient come in full, does anybody know who the Mandalorian is? He made on his 3D printer a Mandalorian costume and he showed up and got adjusted that way that day. I was really upset I wasn't here, but that was a lot of fun. So it's unleashing your innate intelligence, and innate intelligence is a term or a phrase that was coined by some of the first chiropractors. And it's the idea that we have this inborn ability to be healthy. From the moment we were created, we have this intelligence put in our body that tells us how to go from 2 cells to 4 cells to 8 cells onto our roughly 75 trillion cells that make up a person. Regardless of your worldview beliefs, there has to be something that helps that happen. I think. I don't believe there is a way that without some kind of organization and intelligence that we can go from 2 cells of 2 different individuals to become a fully functional human being most of the time, right? So your innate intelligence or unleashing that is what we're going to be having conversations about tonight. Now, if people come trickling in, we're going to let them out here. I guess there's really bad traffic. So I guess that's happening. So digging in, one of my favorite quotes, this is from the second chiropractor. This was the son of the founder of chiropractic. In September, we'll tell that story and the history of that a little bit more, but it's have you more faith in a knife or a spoonful of medicine than the power that animates the living? So I'm not anti anything. I'm not anti that sometimes surgery needs to happen. When I broke my arm snowboarding when I was younger and the surgeon had to go in there and without going into the details, make it so I could actually physically use my arm again. Thank God that happened, right? Because if it didn't, my arm was stuck like this and I probably couldn't be a very functional chiropractor with an arm that doesn't move. Or many other things in life. So surgery has a time and place. Medication has a time and place. And you'll hear me say it over and over again because it's 100% true. In our society, in the borders of America, we use more medication and more surgery than anybody else in the entire planet. The estimate is that we make up about 4.5 to 5% of the world population. Any guesses, and some of you have heard me say it, what percentage of the medication we take? 85%. So we're 4.5 to 5% of the population. We make up 85%, or we take 85% of the pharmaceuticals on the planet. That should blow everybody's mind and make everyone think, what's up with that? Are we the healthiest nation in the world? Do we have the greatest? Yeah, you all went now. So do we have the greatest life expectancy in the world? No. Do we have the greatest infant survivability in the world? No. We're ranked below some third world countries. So something is wrong with that. And one of the things that I believe is wrong with it is that we have, as a country, forgotten that the power that made your body is the power that is. And it happens no other way. Whether you, like me, believe in a higher power, or maybe you do or don't, that's what is put in your body the moment you're born, sticks with you your entire lifetime, and it's how your body, even through incredible challenges, is going to do the very best it can to continue to thrive throughout life. So it's possible, and I'm not judging everybody if you're the person, it's possible to go to places that serve things that could loosely be called possibly food, that you could drive through very quickly and eat that your entire life and still be alive. That's amazing. Like, I think the statistic is every McDonald's hamburger is made up of like 10,000 different animals by the time it becomes the hamburger. So if you eat a McDonald's, cool. I recommend maybe that's not the greatest plan in the world, or any other fast food chain. So we can eat food that is evidently not healthy for us, and our body can take that and make it into cells that keep us alive. That's amazing. So back to the question. Have you more faith in a knife or a spoonful of medicine than the power that animates the living world? And that's really what we work with here. Most people show up here because they have a problem, they have a symptom, they have a pain. And one of the very first shifts we want to help you make is away from, I have a problem, I need you to fix my problem, to let's shift it to, well, how did you get your problem in the first place? And how can we teach you to undo the things that got you there? One of my favorite examples, because heart disease is prevalent in our country, yes or yes. Right? How many people know someone with heart disease? Raise your hand. And if you didn't raise your hand, you probably know somebody with heart disease and don't know. Do you remember what the first physical symptom someone feels of heart disease is most of the time? The heart attack. What percentage of people survive their first heart attack? Under 50%. It's actually under 45%. So one of the number one causes of disease or death in our country, one of the very first symptoms of it is the end result of the entire disease process. And while I could easily go off track, but I'm going to try to stay on the tracks of today, all the things they do for high blood pressure, all the statin drugs, they figured out back in the late 80s and early 90s, they do nothing to extend life and actually make your risk of a heart attack go up because you're not actually assessing the problem. You're covering the symptom with some kind of medication to falsify your numbers so they test properly. The whole time the damage is still being done. So if we respect the way our body was made, first we have to seek to understand how it was made and how it worked. And we utilize the power that made your body to actually heal it. We change some things along the way, maybe habits you did that got you in the situation you're in before you ever came in. And we can shift you from doctor's job is fix my problem to my job is to understand how I created the problem. My doctor's job is to help guide me to be the one to solve it. Because what if you went to your doctor and you had high blood pressure? Anybody ever do that before? What did you leave with?
Oh, prescription.
Prescription, right? Did anything come along with the prescription besides here's your blood pressure medication?
No, piece of paper like.
Oh, some paper,
Yeah.
some instructions. What if this was the conversation? So one of my dreams is that maybe within my lifetime or certainly within my kids' lifetimes, that we as a society wake up enough to shift the focus of how healthcare is done. Because we do not have a healthcare system in America. We have a crisis intervention system. If someone showed up to their cardiologist with high blood pressure, and the cardiologist prescribed them a high blood pressure medication and said, I'm going to give you this for the next 6 to 9 months, and then you're never going to take it again, what would be people's reaction? That'd be good. But there should be some other stuff like, by the way, along with that, you're going to show up to classes. We're going to teach you in those classes how to cook differently, how to shop for food differently, how to move differently, how to manage your stress differently, how to actually help your body heal from the situation you put yourself in, as opposed to, here's the medication, and when you need more, we'll just give you a higher dose. That's problematic. I'm only on the first level.
And they do another step, they'll give you a referral to cardiac rehab the next 6 months.
So there's a whole timing thing. But again, I'm not anti our termed healthcare that we have, or really our crisis intervention, because thank God it exists when you need it, yes? Right? Again, the surgeon who helped me have use of my arm, forever grateful, because I love being a chiropractor. I love adjusting people. I love being very physically active and basically doing anything I want to do. And if my arm was stuck like this for my life, that couldn't probably happen. So the next one, this is a worldview challenge, especially in our society today. So something is either true or it's not. So either medication helps us be healthy or it doesn't. Medication's purpose, surgery's purpose, is to help interfere with the system that your body is telling you there's a check engine light, pay attention to it. instead of the option of, let's find out why you have the problem. We'll use stick with the blood pressure as an example. Let's give you a medication to take you out of the massive risk of having this problem and teach you how to change your life so you never have this problem again. So whether this is healthcare or anything else, and I realize since I think it was like 2020 on, this could be a really challenging statement for some people. It's either true or it's not. There is no, well, my truth is this, and it's either something that is true or it is not. It is that simple. You can change whatever the definition is you want. It's either true or it's not. So either the power that made your body heals it, or I don't know what the other option would be. Maybe you have a different worldview belief, but I don't know what the other option would be. It's either the power that made it or it's not. There we go. So a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, this guy showed up. The founder of chiropractic, D.D. Palmer, coined the term innate intelligence. Sometimes I get ahead of my slides. And described it as the energetic force that exists in all living things, which means the utilization of chiropractic to free up nerve function in your body is not only good for people. Anything with a spine should have a chiropractor, or at least get checked. I have a great friend. I hope for him one day he retires soon because he's in his 80s now. He practices in Virginia Beach. The only thing he does is take care of animals. Pretty awesome. I hope he gets to retire because he's in his 80s and go to a beach somewhere if that's what he wants. Sorry, maybe not Virginia Beach, maybe a little more tropical, right? So if it's in all living things, then would it be a good idea to learn how to utilize it for its best opportunity? And that's kind of the purpose of tonight's conversation of, we're not necessarily going to look at research and I'm going to give you, do this specific thing to change your life. We're going to do a philosophical conversation because philosophy and science is actually the same thing for anyone who actually understands and studies it, because your philosophy drives your science and your science drives your philosophy, or to say it differently, your focus drives your feelings and actions. If we choose our focus on, I was created to be healthy, as opposed to, and I'll use, she's not here, but I know I can use her story, Mary's story. The day Mary started, within about a week or two, Mary is the other tech, if you didn't know, she was diagnosed with congestive heart failure. Who knows what the diagnosis or life expectancy is for someone with congestive heart failure? 10 years. So she was told she has 10 years to live. And personally, I'm challenged with doctors who give deadlines on things because if the power that made your body heals it, who are we to decide what that's capable of? So many tests later, they went, we don't understand. Your heart is fine. It's healthy. The inflammation around your heart is gone. Things are getting, we don't get it. You have congestive, we can't even find evidence of congestive heart failure. What did Mary do? We started adjusting her. We started working on her diet. We started working on some other nutritional things with one of my great friends in Texas who does amazing stuff nutritionally. She started working out and being physically fit again. And within 6 months, her congestive heart failure, they can't find evidence of. That's nothing I did. I just adjusted her spine. I let her body heal itself.
I had the same circumstance with my husband. He was diagnosed with interstitial pulmonary fibrosis 29 years ago, was put on a lung transplant list, which we saw what it was, searched out what it was, and we changed diet, things in the household, pesticides, cleaning solutions, like I said, diet, all these things. Went to a nutritionalist who helped us along with vitamins and tinctures to take and all this, and it's 29 years later and it hasn't progressed. It's been the same, and this pulmonologist says, whatever you're doing, God bless you.
Yeah, my favorite one, and then I will get back on track, is years ago, my mom was died. It's an example of my favorite, and I use that word facetiously, is my mom was diagnosed with osteoporosis, like really bad. Part of the reason I'm a chiropractor is she was injured breaking up a fight in middle school. She was a special needs teacher for a long time. And breaking up this fight, it blew out 2 discs in her low back. She was told she needed surgery, never had surgery. She's been seeing a chiropractor for however many years. Well, in that area of her spine and some other areas, she had some really significant osteoporosis. So the solution was this osteoporosis medication that we know, and if you or know someone who's on them, we should have a separate conversation about that. It does technically build bone, but the reason I only use it for 4 or 5 years is it builds really weak bone. So you have a higher risk of fracture than you did before you ever took the medication. So I started her on some of the nutrition programs we have here, changed her exercise. Now she lives in New York, so obviously I'm not her chiropractor, but found her a chiropractor that would take great care of her there. And then as her osteoporosis got better and now is osteopenia, the doctor's like, well, what do you do? She's like, I'm just doing what my son told me. What's your son do? He's a chiropractor. Well, they can't have a clue what's going on. Literally the reaction, it's been 10 years of improved DEXA scans, and it can't be anything that I told her to do or her nutrition. They just can't believe it. So they're so myopic, and again, I'm not anti the healthcare system, but it's so myopic in their training that if it's not a medication, then it possibly can't. Yeah, we changed nutrition, we changed some other things about our health. We could go on with a lot of stories like this.
That's what the doctor said to him. We gave him, steroids, 100 milligrams a day. That destroys everything else in your body.
Absolutely.
And when he said, well, I'm gonna be going to a nutritionalist and I'm gonna be, he says, well, go ahead. You know,
Yeah.
very negatively, but
And I'm gonna say it's not their fault. How much nutrition do you think your average medical doctor gets education? It's like 4 hours. They get one class one day. So it's an education system fault. Now, once they get out, could they learn those things? Sure. But if your entire education system taught you for 8 or 10 years worth of schooling at 40 hours a week, that nutrition and all these other things isn't the solution, and this is the solution, then you're gonna really believe that. Now, that's not every doctor, that's, of course, we're off topic, but if the power that made your body heals your body, and we can choose to respect and make little tweaks, like it doesn't have to be a massive nutritional tweak. Maybe it's, going out for a walk because you never went out for a walk before, but small little changes can really add. Here we go. And if you want to know what DD Pomper looks like, that's the guy. He has an epic beard too. And we've already talked about this because every single system in your body is connected to the one, as he would, another one of his phrases is, every organ system, every cell in the body is connected to the one under your hand, which I guess would work for 2 of you. There's 2 of you at that time. I can't help myself. So I understand that some people prefer this side of the storyline and some people prefer this side of the storyline. So don't take offense to the next part. Come on, a little quicker. Are we making choices that are bringing us closer to thriving? Or are we making choices that are bringing us closer to just simply surviving? So the term subluxation, if anyone ever studies language, sub means less, lux means light from Latin. So the term subluxation was very wisely picked by the first chiropractor because it literally means less light, or in some translations, less life. So if you have a subluxation, which a chiropractic subluxation is different than a medical subluxation, by the way. Historically, chiropractors use the term first. A medical subluxation is a dislocation. So if you dislocate your shoulder on your paperwork, it's going to say a subluxation. Well, that's just confusing. Why they did that, who knows? But a chiropractic subluxation is a slight adjustment or a slight misalignment of the vertebrae, whether it's in your spine or some other area, that literally by the process puts pressure on the nerve and then lets less life through. Every single subluxation cuts at least 60% of the nerve flow from your brain to wherever it's going in your body. At a 60% shut off, you have no symptom of the problem. So you have to have, your body is so intelligently made to survive if it has to. You can have a 60% shut off of nerve and life flow and feel perfectly okay. Now, I would venture to say it's probably not perfectly okay, but it's not, you're not having a symptom of it. There was a period of time after, I think it was after my daughter was born, I was having a jealousy issue. It was, why do the patients get adjusted and feel amazing after, and I get adjusted and feel wicked? And because my chiropractor was my wife and she just had a baby, I didn't get adjusted for a couple of weeks. And then I did, I was like, oh, this is what it's about. So I get adjusted at least twice a week. That's my personal care plan because I lean over those tables all day long and I do a lot of things that my body needs a lot more help. The wellness care plan for those who choose it, based on the research, once a week is ideal if your body can do that. Or if you want to be like me and really function at excessively high physical levels all day long, it brings me joy to really be productive all day long. I get adjusted twice a week. So the decisions you're making are either bringing you closer to the dark side, as it were, or the light. So one of the takeaways from tonight is I want you to think of one thing that you already know what you need to do to get healthy. Everybody does. Everyone already knows they need to do to be healthier. They already know what they need to do to change whatever relationship thing they want to change. We don't do it for some reason. So one really simple, easy thing that you can change, and maybe you just haven't yet, because we'll call it your why wasn't big enough. Another conversation that happened today, because I believe stories are helpful. Does anybody notice it was really nice out today?
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm blessed enough that the house that we bought 10 years ago had a swimming pool. That is now open, and there's a lawn chair next to it. And I looked outside and went, it's a really good thing my why to show up here and be a chiropractor for people is really huge, because I'd really rather, I almost just hung out by the swimming pool today. I did not, because this is my purpose. I believe one of my God-given purposes on this planet is to care for an incredible number of people at a really high level. So one of the other things I'm gonna ask, besides pick the one thing you know you could do different and commit it to yourself to do it different, is share with something you learned tonight or in another interaction we had with someone who doesn't know. Because people who don't know, if we go back to the high blood pressure thing, because it's prevalent in our country, who really think that taking the medication for their high blood pressure is the best thing they could do. Or if they have what's called type 2 or acquired diabetes, the best thing they can do is take their diabetes medication, not upgrade things about their health. There's a place that can help them with that. And if they don't live close to here, I'll help find them another one. One of the other things I've been blessed to be able to do in my life is I get to be a coach for chiropractors all over the country. I get to be a speaker for chiropractic organizations all over the country. So a lot of weekends when I'm not here, it's because I'm doing that. And my ask is, I guess there's a third one. What's something you're going to do different? What's someone you're going to tell about it? And where's someplace I can go and share one of these things with? Because the more people that know they have choices, they at least have an opportunity to make the choice. If they don't know that there's a different opportunity, then how could they ever make it? So again, things you're doing, something that's going to help you bring you closer to the thriving side or to the surviving side. Does anybody want to survive life? I mean, none of us are getting out here alive anyway, but wouldn't it be better to thrive the whole time?
Yeah.
So nature needs no help, just no interference. If your body is allowed to communicate the way it was designed, if you are living subluxation free, which the only way, as far as I'm aware, that you know you're doing that is if you get adjusted. There is currently research being developed with some of the greatest and most published researchers in the country. And it's being partly led by one of my great friends, who's a chiropractor, utilizing like Stephen Cole, if you've heard of Stephen Cole or John Ioannidis, some of the most referenced people during COVID, to find out what percentage of the population has subluxations, chiropractic subluxations. I think it's probably everybody, but me thinking that and me stating that in literature is very different. So they're creating it, but what it means is every single person who has a spine should at least get checked, because if you have a subluxation, regardless of symptoms, is that doing things to help your life be greater or less? Let's try again. So do subluxations help your body and life be greater or less? Less. Every single time, whether you feel it or not. So if we allow the body to work, your body to work the way it was supposed to, it's designed to thrive. But it will absolutely survive if it has to, like if somebody who eats McDonald's or any other fast food or any not great food, and I'm not saying I eat awesome food all the time. I definitely don't go to fast food restaurants, except maybe Chick-fil-A, somehow that's better. But anyway, that's a different topic. Then we have more opportunities to let our body do what it's supposed to. So we have to remove toxins, negative thoughts. We're going to run out of time on some of the things I want to talk about. So I'll just kind of note it and ask me more if you want to know. And any traumas in our life. So maybe that's one of the things you're going to do. If we have physical subluxations, that's the easy ones. That's we adjust the thing, we physically remove it. Emotional subluxations, those are the hard ones. We might not even know where it's coming from. So the reason I brought this little thing back with me today is one of the solutions we have for emotional subluxations, whether it's stress, anxiety, depression, whatever it happens to be. This is a technology we offer in the office called Brain Tap. This is a little QR code that gives you some more information about it. I just popped the QR code in. They're having an amazing Mother's Day sale. So, you know, if you're a mom who has stress, which means you're a mom, by the way, maybe this could be a Mother's Day gift for you, who knows? But we also have an opportunity for a trial for you to use it. On the home front, we have little cards up front. I was hoping to have more time to dig into what this is because it's amazing. So if you were to say, and you're not, no one's in like 30 seconds or less, what is Brain Tap help?
So with my job, I have to speak in front of people and I'm really, really shy and nervous and have a lot of anxiety with that. This helped me stand up in front of over 300 people and speak. It's helped me sleep better. Yeah, it just helps a lot with my stress and my anxiety.
It's, and like, you put the headset on and
Oh, it's
Really
really,
enjoyed it.
yeah, it's
pretty
just
awesome.
20 minutes of relaxation, me time, I love it.
I
do it as
love
much as I can.
really simple stuff. We have an entire room, the room with the cool colored lights in it. That's what that room has got. So there's a zero gravity chair that you sit in and just relax, put the headset on, it runs the program for you. It's awesome. So when you started, just to spend an extra moment on it, if there was more than a single person in a report, you asked another team member to do it.
I did, yeah.
And within a couple months, you got up and talked in front of 300 people.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Mhm.
So maybe that's a way to do it. If it's, we know that every single adjustment you have, whether it's one that instantly makes you feel better, maybe it's one that maybe didn't make you feel very great, right? On your very first day after your first adjustment, I said, you're either gonna go home and feel great, you're gonna feel no different, you might actually feel worse. But every adjustment is building and unleashing that force, that innate intelligence in your body. And we don't know how powerful each individual adjustment can be for your health. We don't know that if this adjustment just helped you simply feel better, if this one allowed your body to identify a cell that may have one day become cancer and get rid of it. We'll talk about this in other workshops. There's research that shows the longer you get adjusted, the higher levels of chemicals that find and get rid of free radicals, which free radicals turn into cancer. We don't know if this is the one that's going to help you feel better so you don't have a emotional reaction that you may regret later on. We don't know. One of the greatest stories that I'll always remember was when I asked somebody at their anniversary review and their family was with them. I said, so what have you noticed? What is different about your health now than a year ago? And the little kid said, my dad doesn't beat my mom. I didn't know that was happening. The adjustment did that, freeing up their ability to, their body to function better. So what does that do for their life and their health? Oh my goodness. Forget about just simply feeling better. When we track the research on what people do with chiropractic, the number one thing they rate every single time is improved emotional health. Does our world need some improved emotional health right now?
Yes.
Every single one of us, whether we think we're doing great or maybe we're really struggling. I don't know what's happening in your individual lives, but those who get adjusted make better decisions every single time. So whether you're hurting, you're sick, you're challenged emotionally, whether you feel fine, it is always the right thing to simply get adjusted. It might seem so simple, and you might say things like, well, doc, I'm only here for like 5 minutes, and I traveled like 45 minutes to get here. Is it really worth it? A lot of you are going like this right now. But isn't anybody know who Wayne Dyer is or was? Yes, right? One of my favorite quotes of his is, I'm realistic, I believe in this. So if our computer screens ever have enough time in the day to go to the screensaver, it says expect miracles. Because sometimes we can get lost in the everyday of people doing amazing and forget about the blessing it is that each and every single one of you has chosen to trust us with your life and your health. So remember my 3 asks, and we're going to end right on time. You have a little card there. One side of the card, I want you to write something you're going to do different and a takeaway from tonight. On the back of the card, I want you to write the person you're going to share that thing with to help inspire them to make a greater choice in their life. What's that?
Repeat it one more time.
So one side is something you're going to do different or a takeaway from tonight. The other side is someone you're going to share that thing and inspire them to maybe get their own check. And then in our last couple of moments here, I would like you to just speak the person's first name. I don't need their social security numbers, their home addresses, their phone numbers. Just simply speaking that this person is important enough to share this with has a lot of power to it. So who's somebody you're going to share?
Dave, my father-in-law.
Dave, your father.
My dad, Sean, and my stepmom, Sam.
If you wouldn't mind flipping that and taking quick notes,
Yep.
because I'd like to connect on these people later on, and if there's anything we can do to help reach them, I want to do it. So we have Dave, father-in-law, you'll remember yours, because you said that. How about for you, Luke?
I'm still trying to get, my mom and stepdad here.
Ran into your dad the other day, we'll get him back here. Trevor. Trevor, your son, Trevor.
Jonathan, my husband.
Jonathan, your husband, he was so close the other day.
I know.
He-
And then my cousin, who I consider my mom, we live here.
Awesome. Good for you.
My brother Kyle,
Brother Kyle.
and he wanted us to share with the other pieces.
Yeah, if you want to share both, absolutely.
Every adjustment removes an appearance, and unleashes the force. And I want to work on to build it up.
Awesome. Okay. So we have, I don't know if it got recorded, Dr. Ashley taught a class about reprogramming for gratitude. Amazing. I don't know if it got recorded or not, but when it does come around again, I'll do one. Check.
I've just been starting to talk to a neighbor, and all she does is complain about how she doesn't feel
Uh-oh.
good. So I've been telling her, I've been coming in and she's complaining about how she has aches and pains. And little by little, I've been saying, well, I've been going,
Yeah.
and I can honestly say I feel, 80% different from when I first walked in there. It's a short time.
It's only been a couple of weeks. That's awesome.
Her name is Tam. so-
Tammy the neighbor. All right. How are you, Chris?
Sheila.
Sheila. Awesome.
Tricia.
Tricia? Bella.
My wife, Tina.
Your wife Tina. Is that two Tinas? Is that two different? We made that.
My sister Cindy.
Sister Cynthia. So one of my other favorite chiropractic quotes, and we'll wrap it up because we're just a few seconds over, is you never know how far reaching something you think, say, and do today can affect the lives of millions tomorrow. Think about the story I shared of what that little kid shared in my anniversary report. What is different about the trajectory of that family's life? Because they simply chose to get adjusted and trust the process. They never had a clue that that could be something that could change, and it did. The things that are happening in your lives that are going to unfold, I don't have a clue what they're going to be. But I know that every single person is better when they're well adjusted and their innate intelligence can function the way it's supposed to, as opposed to when it's not. So thank you for entertaining me with a few extra moments. Please do share with those people, hand those cards to Kristen on the way out. They're going to adorn our wall. We're going to cover our wall with the hopes and dreams of how we change the world. Have a great night.
We also have a food drive coming up, so if anyone wants to donate non-perishables, you'll actually get entered into a raffle where you'll win a picnic basket full of all kinds of goodies. So you can bring that in on your next appointment if you're interested.
Thank you. And I
Good job.
absolutely forgot about the food drive.
I think I already